What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me as always. It's Tuesday. We're back with the full episode. No catch up fast food. We're about to give you a full hour of everything that's going on in the sporting world. We're going to kick it off with Team USA basketball. They've been taking L's, and we're not accustomed to them taking L's. So we got to talk about that. They just dropped the game to Nigeria, backed it up with a loss to Australia. So we'll talk about that. Shohei Ohtani home run derby all-star game is tonight. There was a little dust up because of some comments Stephen A. Smith made on ESPN. Can the face of a league be someone that doesn't speak English? Stephen A. Smith doesn't think so. It came off as racist. We'll talk about that. We'll break that down. NBA rumors, Dame. Who else is on the move?
Oh, Ben Simmons on the move.
Ben Simmons on the move.
So Lonzo Ball's name in the media.
Big time. So we'll talk about that. We'll break that down. We'll close the show with some NFL news, but you know how we're rocking. We're going to break down everything that's rocking in the sports world. Stay with us.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's good?
It's the business.
Listen, bro, First Take Tuesday. Nick had a great idea, actually. He said, for First Take Tuesday, we should talk about the Olympics. Some of the low-key sports we enjoy that we're looking forward to that might be not your standard track and field.
Yeah.
Put it like that. So we're going to talk about that. Anything else before we get into the First Take Tuesday? What's going on, man? How's the week rolling? You good?
Beautiful, man. Long, great sports weekend, man. Backed up into last night with a little home run derby, Team USA. So it was lovely.
Yeah. We'll touch on the derby. We won a little money on the derby. I've been giving out winners, man. Y'all better follow at No Catch Up Pod. I've been laying out winners for y'all for the free. Ohtani took care of business last night. But yeah, First Take Tuesday. Olympic sports you are looking forward to the most. Nick didn't even know. I'm going to start quick.
Non-traditional. So obviously everybody's looking forward to like the 100 meters dash and some of the swimming events and some Team USA basketball and the marquee events, right? Obviously we're all going to be watching those, but man, the Olympics is a lot of sports, covers a wide range of different abilities and skills and talents. And there's some good ones when you start digging through there. So
is the Olympics on your bucket list?
No, not in the least bit.
No interest to go to the Olympics.
Not no interest, but it's not bucket list. It's not like, oh man, yeah, I think it'd be sick to go to the Olympics. Like I would be, it'd be cool to kind of just walk around and hit some of these different sports and all that. But it also seems like too big of a spectacle for me. Like to weigh a little too much. There's just too much going on, man. There's just it just seems like one of those places where as a fan, it might look a lot cooler than it actually is. Like once you get there, you might be dealing with some bullshit.
Like it's you're talking about like just a lot of like hard to get around.
Yeah, logistically a nightmare. Like just a nightmare. Okay. Like you'll spend so much time trying to get to an event, you're gonna miss probably 6 different things you'd want to. But yeah, I'd do it. Like don't get it twisted. It's another one of those things where and like everything is better if you got a ton of money, but it's definitely one of those if I had a ton of money and could, make sure the hotel was straight. I mean, you don't even got what was it in Sochi where you didn't have hotels for the journalists? So like I don't want to get caught up in a situation like that where I'm sitting here staying in a closet or whatever. But it seems like it'd be cool. It'd be fun. And also depends on where it is. Like it has to be somewhere that I like. Tokyo, absolutely. Like Tokyo is on the bucket list near the top 5 cities I want to hit. Yeah. So it'd be dope. But if it's somewhere where I don't really give a shit about, like I'm not going to go to the U.S. Olympics. I'll put it that way. If they did it like Los Angeles or some shit like that, nah, zero interest. Okay, zero.
Let me tell y'all, everybody listen, if y'all don't know Quick, y'all probably know him pretty well by now. But if there's anything inconvenient that has to happen for him to attend something, he's not coming.
Not doing it.
So Usain Bolt's running in the 100-meter dash in LA, but he has to take a connecting flight. No, thanks.
Probably not.
I'll catch it on. I'll catch it on NBC. I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Because I mean, and that's more just like, again, man, the destination has to be like, I'd also want to visit the spot, and it's like I've been to LA 157,000 times. You know what I mean? Like anywhere, there's nowhere in the States where I'd be like, oh shit, let me drop what I'm doing and get out there and do the whole Olympic experience. Now, again, like Tokyo, like all that, like, yeah. But 100, you're right. If it's inconvenience to me, like, dog, the situation at the crib is so lovely. It's lovely. We got 4K TVs. We got cold beverages. Like the home viewing experience has gotten like, yo, it's just like that game that we went to, that basketball game. I'll probably never go to another NBA game unless I'm in there. Like, I need to be able to feel motherfuckers. Like, I'm just not gonna go sit up way up there, man. It's not me.
Oh, you're saying after we went and saw LeBron, you talking about?
Yeah. It's just like I'm inconvenienced in the 300s, man. I can't do that.
This is just an inconvenience now.
It's just an inconvenience. The crib is nicer.
I feel you.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it per se. I guess I'm the opposite though. I like to go to shit and go check it out and get the energy of the fans and all that shit. But yeah, if y'all didn't know, if it's inconvenient for Nick and it's televised in 4K. You straight. You know, no need.
No need. I've been doing enough. But that's, again, I don't want to make it sound like, you know, I still have my list, my bucket list shit that is untouchable. But yeah, if it's not on the list, hard pressed.
Not on the list. I'm good.
Yeah. Yep.
But the unconventional joint that I'm looking forward to, which Nick hasn't even heard of or doesn't know, I'm gonna share my screen for folks listening. It's called trampolining or like the World Trampoline Finals. You've probably seen it, male or female. They have team joints where it's like synchronized. You jump on the trampoline and you just do shit like this. Hold on, let me share my screen real quick. But you just you're essentially jumping around and trying to do cool ass shit on this trampoline, flips, whatever. All right, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, look. Here you go, Nick. Let me skip forward on this. But this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I love it. That's great.
Yeah, so like one time I came across this, right? And I was just like, one of those things where you come across it and you just find yourself watching it for the next 45 minutes. Well, and that's essentially what happened. And every time I see it now in the Olympics, I'll rock with it.
Hey, you want to know something that's cool about that sport? We've all jumped on a trampoline before at some point, right? So to do it at that level, like, you understand how actually hard that really is to do and how much it takes out of you to keep going up and higher and do flips. Like, yo, jumping on a trampoline, we got one in the backyard for my daughter. I've only done it a couple times, and it's a workout. Like, it's 100% a full body, you feel it in the morning type situation when you're running around on these trampolines and all that. So yeah, that looks like a tough ass sport. I'm definitely going to have to check that out this year. I knew it existed, didn't know what it was called. But I'm gonna definitely have to check that out. That looks like a lot of fun.
There's some people that watch everything, every single.
Oh, they're Olympic heads, yeah, all day.
From opening ceremony to the closing ceremony, they watch everything in between.
Archery, all that.
Everything. They're talking about
another tough ass sport. You watch that archery; these people are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dope sport. All right, so my sport. I actually fell in love with this sport. I want to say it was like 2008 Olympics. And I know I got you on the train like 2012 with it. By far, one of the coolest sports, combines all the elements of all the sports that we do watch, right? I know you're a big soccer guy, so there's some soccer in there. We're both big basketball guys. There's a football element, a rugby element, whatever you want. Yeah. It's team handball.
Team handball.
If you have not watched team handball, you think we're playing. This isn't throwing it up against the wall and doing all that stuff. It's pretty much lacrosse without the sticks.
It's hockey. It's hockey.
It's basketball. It's soccer. Like all that without the It's hockey and lacrosse without the sticks. Essentially, goaltenders passing around, crazy athletes throwing the ball into the net. I don't know if it's 5-on-5 and 6-on-6. I don't know if you have a clip or not. But
it's got the basketball element because you can't travel with it.
You can't travel with it. Exactly.
You can't run around with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that would be cool if you had like 12 or 15 of your guys and you wanted to get together and just play a completely different sport. Check out team handball. Insanely competitive. Denmark won gold for the men in 2016. Russia won for the women in 2016. So not quite a sport that Americans are excelling at. But quick, interesting fact, the first time I ever heard of this sport, do you remember Jake the Snake Plummer? Former Arizona State Sun Devil and Cardinals quarterback? When he retired he made a bunch of money playing football. When he retired, him and his brother went and started playing team handball. All the athleticism, all that. Again, I don't know if we got a clip of it or not.
That sounds like Jake the Snake. I could pull it up real quick.
Yeah. It's just a dope sport overall. And I don't know how I randomly just saw it one day and just fully got into it. But check out this team handball, man. I'm going to be locked in all day.
Just so we don't get too crazy into it. Yeah, check out the team handball. It is interesting and fun. And, man, when did the Olympics even start?
I think the 23rd is the opening ceremony.
I got my
Team USA.
Team USA join on.
You're a good American. I think it's the 23rd is when it starts. So
okay, yeah, I'm in. I would definitely watch that. It's just whatever's on when I hop on the TV and turn them on. I'm not setting the schedule to no handball or the trampoline shit. But if I get to the crib and throw it on and it's on, then that's what I'll watch.
So let me ask you a quick question though. So with they had Copa this weekend, they had the UEFA joint, they had the American, the CONCACAF or whatever it's called.
Yeah, CONCACAF,
CONCACAF Gold or all that. Are these the same squads that they send to the Olympics? Do you send
I don't know. You talking about the roster or the actual teams? I think there was Olympic qualifying.
No, the rosters.
The rosters, yeah.
It's not like a junior team or like Messi and all these guys are going to Tokyo.
I think it's just like you would look at the NBA shit. It's
so you send your top notch.
You try to, and if they're in or they feel like they need some rest or whatever, they'll go. But yeah, I think it's the same.
It's not like a whole nother roster. Okay, yeah.
No. Yes, it's the like Neymar went a few years ago, or like remember when the Olympics were in Brazil?
Yeah,
Neymar and those guys went. So like it was big time guys playing.
Okay, gotcha.
I can't remember if they won or lost, but yeah. Yeah, they send the big dogs. It's just like how LeBron's not playing this year. It's like whoever wants to go.
Gotcha.
So, that's a perfect segue actually into NBA hoops, NBA basketball. They're taking L's. They've lost 2 in a row. Nick, are you worried? Does this matter? Are people overreacting? Are people so spoiled that the fellas are supposed to literally blow out everybody they see? And nowadays they're running into rosters that have multiple NBA players on them too. It's not like they're playing guys off the street anymore.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing so I actually watched this game last night. I didn't watch the Nigeria game, saw some of the highlights, but watched this game while I was also watching the home run derby. And number one, if you think that the U.S. is just going to walk into an international basketball tournament and just smack folks around, like you 100% have another thing coming to you and you haven't been paying attention to global basketball the last, 10 to 15 years, right? Like, first off, what was it, 2004 that they didn't even win gold? Was that Athens where it was disastrous and they didn't even win gold? So a lot of these international teams have been on the come up. 2008.
And then 2012 was the Redeem
team. Okay.
And then 2016, they won back-to-back, and then now we're here.
And also just look around the league. Look at some of your top players, whether it be your Luka Doncic's, Dirk Nowitzki back in the day. Giannis, I'm missing on a whole bunch of international players, but they're all over the place. Jokic, MVP of the league, was an international player. So these guys are out there. They're playing basketball. They're playing basketball at a high level. A lot of these national teams, these guys have been playing together forever, which isn't necessarily the case with the Team USA. So if you thought it was just going to be a cakewalk, you got another thing coming to you, especially when you look at a team like Australia that has multiple NBA players that have done things in their career, right? Pat Mills, Deladova, Joe Ingles, Matisse Thybulle apparently is Australian now and is on that roster, right? But you look at, they had like 5 NBA players on their team. So they have 5 players on their team that are some of the best players in the world that play and get minutes and win championships in the highest level in the world. So again, the talent, they might have more talent on Team USA, but these teams aren't full of me, you, and 3 other guys that we know from Brisbane, right? Like, these are big-time basketball players that know what they're doing, and if you don't come correct, you're going to get embarrassed. So I think that, I would be worried because I think roster-wise, there's some issues with this team. They don't have a true point guard. I understand you got Dame in there running point, but Dame's a scoring one, right? I think they need someone to come out there and set the table. And also, they don't really have any bigs that can stop the bleeding. I think you got Bam Adebayo. I don't know who else you got over there, but you don't really have that depth of big man to stop Patty Mills from getting to the lane whenever he wanted to, like he did yesterday. So I think from the roster construction, yeah, they might have some issues. I don't think they're going to steamroll everybody. With that being said, once these guys get a few games under their belt, a few more practices under their belt, and kind of build that cohesion, I still think they're gonna walk to the gold. You'll have some tough competition in there. I don't know what Spain looks like. I know they play Argentina tonight. Checked out Argentina's roster. Luis Scola is still on Team Argentina. Shout out Scola, legendary bucket.
Yeah.
But also with these international, the guys that you're playing against, look, for a lot of these guys that you're playing against, this is their shot, right? They come out, they put up numbers against Team USA. All of a sudden, they're on somebody's radar. Maybe it's an NBA radar. Maybe it's a G League radar. Maybe it's a better club overseas radar. But for a lot of these dudes, you remember like Arroyo was like 12, 15 years ago, came out, busted the U.S.'s ass in Puerto Rico. Next thing you know, he's playing in the NBA. So for a lot of these guys, you're going to get their best shot, for especially the non-NBA guys that are on these rosters. So I think that you can't underestimate these squads. They're talented. They've been playing together a while, and they want to beat you. But again, once the U.S. builds that cohesion, it's still by far and away the best roster, obviously, on the international competition. So my worry level on a scale of 1 to 10, probably like a 6. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. I think I'm not worried. I think take the L's now.
Yeah,
get this shit out the way now. Maybe this will wake them up a little bit. I think you made a lot of good points. Yeah, listen, bro, these are NBA guys that are playing these guys during the regular season.
Yes.
So, like, Joe Ingles isn't spooked by the USA team. He plays these guys all the time.
Joe Ingles plays 30 minutes a night, a team that won 60 games this year. So
yeah, he's not like – I think that's part of it where it's like –
he's not wide-eyed at KD. He's not like, oh, my God, that's Kevin Durant.
Exactly. The intimidation thing is has faded quite a bit over the last 20 years. A lot of these international dudes are also signing multi-year deals where they, it's not like, we don't know who's going to be on the USA roster until it's 2 months before the shit starts.
These guys have been playing together for 10 years.
Exactly. These guys have been playing together for quite some time. They're locked in.
It means a lot to them.
Exactly. It means a lot to them. They know who's going to be on the roster. It's there's a couple different things in there. I'm trying to pull up the full USA roster, but I can't. I wanted to get a picture, but
then you also got these random situations like Tybal, who I guess spent a few years in Australia as a kid, going over there to play, and he was 1,000% giving Team USA problems last night. So I mean, you have non-nationals from those, but they have some affiliation to those countries that are going to go over there and play, and
they want to get ticked.
And if you understand basketball, it's not always like, let's take the 5 most talented guy, put him on the floor, roll out a basketball, and you're going to win. That's not really how it works. That's not how the league works every year. Yeah. There's things about being cohesive. There's things about playing the right way. And look at some of these coaches that are coaching these international teams. These are NBA head coaches, NBA assistant head coaches, right? A lot of these, Calipari, I think, was out there coaching the Caribbean a few years ago trying to get players. That's what he coached some random team, and I think it was the Bahamas or some shit, and DeAndre Ayton was on the team. I forget what it was, but it was some random shit like that. It was clearly he was going after a kid, but they're getting elite level coaching too. And this isn't like Dream Team playing against Croatia and there's one Tony Kukoc and a bunch of guys who have a day job. These are pro basketball players in whatever league that they're in. They're not part-time hoopers.
Yo, shout out Dante in the comments. He said, why doesn't USA I'm going to go through your whole list, Dante. Why doesn't USA basketball press anymore? Man, because this is summer vacation and they're not pressing nobody.
Yeah, no, this isn't Arkansas 40 minutes of hell. It's not going to happen.
No, that's not.
You think you're going to tell KD to full court press for 40 minutes international play? No. It's not happening.
Yeah, no, they're not pressing an international play. Dante said they play half court against slower players. Makes no sense. He's saying get out and run against these small, slow foreign squads. I think part of it is no one plays half court ball anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of the FIBA rules are lean to, half court stuff going on. And if you run out a team with Beal, if you run out a backcourt of Beal, Dame,
you're not gonna. Yeah,
it's not a lot of half court offense that's being patient enough and being constructed enough.
Isn't Chris Paul coming or no? Is Chris Paul playing?
I don't know if Chris is coming. I know Book is coming.
Book is coming. Middleton's coming, and Drew is coming. I know that.
Yeah.
So you're also missing 3 high caliber guys in Book, Drew, and Chris Middleton, right? Like, say what you want to about your boy K Mid. But yeah, those are 3 guys who are going to play minutes on that team. Yeah. But that still leaves them without if Chris is coming, if it solves your point guard issue, but it still leaves you without a point guard. You want to talk about playing half court? Yeah, Dame Lillard is not a half court point guard. Yeah, like, that's not what he does. Yeah, he's not coming out there holding up the one and directing traffic. Like, that's not his type of game. Waiting for actions down the low post.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the other thing. Like, even if he tried to do it, I don't know if he'd have the patience to
go crazy.
I'm getting the shot up, man.
Like, I'm going to pull up. This is some bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you got to watch out. And I know it's not a single elimination. It's like a round robin once you get to the Olympics, right?
Yeah, it's not single elimination.
Yeah, so
it's like you get to rounds that it becomes single elimination.
Yeah, so I mean, again, you don't want to get caught off guard by one of these teams that's been playing together forever. I don't know where the best players are all concentrated to right now. We'll tell you that Australian team looked very tough, very tough. Pat Mills is an international god, and we forget about him because he's buried out there in San Antonio. But he's just a hooper. The guy plays basketball. He's been a hooper a long time. He's won jewelry. Like, Patty Mills is a hooper. Joe Ingles is a hooper. Right? Dellavedova is scrappy and he hoops.
No, he sucks.
He hoops, bro. He's fine. But I don't want to hear about that. Fine. He's gonna give you problems. He's gonna irritate you.
He plays a little better on that team. But
I think they had a couple other guys that were in the NBA on those rosters. So Simmons didn't even come over.
FIBA half court helps Dellavedova. That's no question about that.
Simmons said, "Fuck it, I don't want to." Atlantic still got him shook. He's like, "I'm not even going to play international. I'm not going to get made fun of in Tokyo for not shooting."
Yeah.
So, you still got some guys, man. I don't think Canada's going to the Olympics, but their squad is loaded. If it was fully healthy, like, you're getting ball players from all over.
Here's Popovich was getting some pressure from the media, essentially to set up the video. The media member essentially said to Dame and Pop that, yo, you guys used to blow these dudes out, and now they're close games, and you guys are taking L's. This was Greg Popovich, the head coach of the USA basketball team's response.
Oh, good. You done? Let me also answer that question. You asked the same sort of question, the same family of question last time, where you assume things that are not true. When you just mentioned, blowing these teams out, that's never happened. So I don't know where you get that. Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish my statement? Can I finish my statement? When you talk, are you going to let me finish my statement or not? So you'll be quiet now while I talk, and then I'll listen to you. When you make statements about in the past just blowing out these other teams, number one, you give no respect to the other teams. And I talked to you last time about the same thing. We've had very close games against 4 or 5 countries in all these tournaments. So the good teams do not get blown out. There are certain games that might happen in one of the tournaments, in the World Championship, the Olympics, where somebody gets blown out. But in general, nobody's blowing anybody out for the good teams. So when you make a statement like that, it's like you assume that's what's going on. And that's incorrect.
Straight like that.
He was not trying to hear that shit at all.
Not at all, because he understands that's just not the truth, and he's right. It hasn't been that way. Like, I get we're all still hung up on the dream team and shit. Like, yeah, we will blow some folks out. Like, let's not get it twisted. But you just can't assume that you're leaps and bounds better than anybody, because it's just not the case anymore. And you can't have that mentality. Like, you hear Nigeria and you're like, oh, fucking Nigeria. But then it's like, no, these guys got a bunch of hoopers.
Yeah, it's true.
Adebayo was supposed to be playing over there.
Is Popovich taking that shit too personally? Should he have just kind of shrug that off like, man, look, they're getting better. We're getting better. We just got together. It's the first handful of games we're playing. We'll get better. We'll when it's time to win the gold, we'll be ready to go.
No, he's an old dude. He's fed up and he doesn't have time for it anymore. All that other shit is out the window. If he doesn't like your question and he doesn't like the fact that you're not, first off, he's saying, I told you this already the other day when you asked me this dumbass question. Now you want to ask me again as I'm trying to answer. You want to cut me off and tell me what I'm trying to say or come with the facts and not even let me answer the question that you already asked me the other day. So I'm just going to give it to you straight. Don't ask him this dumbass question again.
Right.
Like, I think that's what it is. It's a 75-year-old pop who's not trying to hear it anymore.
Okay, fair enough.
And he told him, we just talked about this. You just asked me this the other day, and I told you. What more do you want? You think my opinion changed from today and 3 days ago? So it is what it is. They play again tonight against Argentina. Lock in. We'll see what Scola's talking about. But, I mean, yeah, they're not going to just walk to the gold, man. It's not going to happen.
I'm going to say this, man. I think the days are over if you could just get a bunch of NBA dudes.
Just throw the ball out there?
Throw the ball out there, and we're going to win the gold. You at least got to try to put – there's absolutely no big man on the team.
Yeah, Bam is it. Yeah, you can't – yeah.
They got Bam and they got Draymond. And they got a bunch of other skill guys. I guess they got Durant. They got the big dogs. They got some big dogs out there. But I think it's combined with guys coming off
together a team.
Well, I think it's combined with guys coming off grueling regular seasons, and then they don't really care that much.
Yeah.
How many of these guys have a gold medal? That's what I would like. I need to look at that. But
well, who cares is guys like Levine. He hasn't played in a winning basketball situation in 10 years, right? So he probably really, really, really cares, and I think it'll be good for him as a Bulls fan. Selfishly, I'm happy that he's there because I think just to get him around some greatness, you know what I mean? Some guys who respect him but have accomplished a lot more than him could go a long way. It'll matter to guys like that. It'll matter, but most of these guys, look, man, let's keep it real. You know the drill. A lot of these guys are out there because the shoe company told you, hey, you know what I mean? We got some new colorways to put out. You need to rock those in Tokyo. Like for some guys, it's a shoe company thing. Let's not get it twisted. Nike's got some apparel they need to sell out there. For a guy like Durant, it's legacy. Hey, I'm the big dog now because I was coming all these other years, but I wasn't. Melo was out here, Bronny and the boys was out here. Now I'm big dog.
Now let me ask you this then. That's a perfect before we get
like Jeremy Grant. Like, what are we doing?
Okay, well before let me get into that before we get into the NBA rumors. Does this affect legacy? I heard Stephen A. and a couple people talking about this might affect
negatively.
Yeah, like if they went out, like if Kevin Durant was the head honcho, and he went out to the Olympics and they got dusted, it's like damn. So is it a little bit of a tarnish, or is it just like, whatever?
That's just something that they can add to the rundown if they lose, so it gives them 20 minutes of something to talk about. But I can't see at any point in time would I ever see Kevin Durant's legacy diminished by not winning in the Olympics. It's not like regular NBA. No, it's different. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, they could not win a single game in the Olympics in 10 years. I wouldn't remember that Kevin Durant had anything to do with that, nor would I care.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, I don't. If you're saying that about Durant again, where have you been? What have you been watching? I mean,
I thought it was interesting though because you're going to rep the country, you're the head honcho, and then you take a group over there, you're the big dog, and y'all get smoked. It's not a good look. I don't know if it's a legacy dash. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's interesting because
I think it just sounds good on a list of accomplishments, but it doesn't necessarily buoy.
But let me angle to you this way. How many USA teams haven't won gold? One?
Yeah. Okay, and did that tarnish AI's legacy? Did that tarnish Kobe's legacy? Did that tarnish any of those guys? T-Mac was on that roster.
Was Bean on that?
I think that all those guys were on that team, and they went out there and maybe it was. I know AI was there. I know Rip was over there. I'm assuming Bean was over there. Maybe not. But again, when you think about Allen Iverson, you're like, hey, yeah, they went to Athens and got smacked around. Though it's like, no, you don't really think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I was trying to play a little devil's advocate. I don't think about. Yeah, that AI.
You know that team didn't win, and it's like, oh, that's kind of embarrassing. It was kind of a wake-up call. but I think they got bronze too.
Yeah, they didn't
even play in the championship game.
Yeah, they got bronze.
But who won? Was that Spain that year? That was
That Gasol in them.
Yeah, I think it was Gasol and them boys. It was either Gasol or it might have been Argentina with
might have been
Ginobili and them boys.
Yeah,
Ginobili was such a problem.
Yeah.
Ginobili, Scola, and Nocioni. But yeah, like shout out Nocioni.
Yeah.
That's Eli's guy.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it's going to affect their legacy negatively at all. And I think if we're being honest, they're gonna win gold. So I don't think it's a moot point. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. We'll move on.
And if Chris is coming, this will be fine. We'll figure it all out.
Yeah, he won't get any minute. Book will be there though. Book will save the day. Book might just show up and continue to pour in 30 a night. So,
yeah, he might.
No worries. We'll move on to the NBA. Big Quick wanted to talk about some NBA rumors. This doesn't pique my interest that much because I'm not sold that Dame's actually going to go. Lonzo's going to go. Simmons, I think, has to go. But what are you hearing on that front? What are you seeing on Twitter? What are you reading?
So I'm hearing, so with Lonzo, I'm hearing that the Pelicans are unlikely to match any large offer sheet on him. And the top suitors are the Clippers and the Bulls. Now, I don't know how the Clippers have this cap money. They're kind of like the Rams in that regard, where I don't know how you have two max guys that you gave Kennard all that money and you sell enough money for Lonzo. Yeah, Reggie's on a minimum. Reggie's like a fucking veteran minimum.
Reggie, it's like $5 million or something. Like
Lonzo's going to get $20 million, $15 to $20 million a year. So I guess they're unlikely to match any offer sheet on him. So that leaves the Bulls and the Clippers. He's been linked to the Bulls for so long. It just sounds like it makes the most sense. And I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
As far as Simmons goes, I'm reading for Simmons, and this just the Cavs, Pacers, Wolves, and Raptors, and that the 76ers are openly shopping him at this point in time.
I'm going to tell you this. If he goes to somewhere like Cleveland, it's the last you hear a lot of
Absolutely.
Simmons.
Absolutely.
It'll be a very...
He's not that guy to go play in Cleveland.
It'll be a very Blake Griffinish to Detroit situation.
Yeah. And he's way younger than Blake did.
Yeah, so I hope that's not the case.
If he goes to Toronto.
Don't bury him in Cleveland.
Put him in the system in Toronto.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in Toronto.
I wouldn't mind him in Minnesota just because I think he needs to go somewhere where he's not going to be relied upon to do anything offensively outside of handle the ball. And I think Minnesota, they got scorers galore with Towns, Russell, and my boy, the Ant-Man, who I'm very high on. So you can kind of plug him in there, and he kind of helps them out defensively because they're an awful defensive team. Where he talked about the Raptors and then the Pacers, which whatever.
Pacers are like the biggest shrug squad.
Yeah, it's just like sure. Yeah, it's nice.
Sure.
They'll win 40 to 45 games. They'll get in the playoffs, and got a couple guys that try hard, and but you'll never want to watch them play a game.
Yeah, Sabonis, Brogdon, they're good players.
Yeah, they're good players. It's nice. It's fine. He can fit in there and just be blah. But none of those teams, I mean, again, we talked about it. I said I thought Portland was the move. Portland would be the move.
Just
maybe you can try to.
Both sides need each other.
Yeah.
That's why it's the move. But
the Lakers are not a play for him. He can't play with Bron. Yeah, I don't know. It's not, but the fact that they're talking so openly about trading him, and Morey doesn't fuck around. If Morey's done, he's done, and you're getting moved on from.
There's not as many spots as you would think there would be for a young,
for 24 all NBA player.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It seems like that playoff run just did major damage to.
Well, and it's also like, we're not getting. Normally, when you're acquiring again a 24-year-old all NBA guy, you're like, oh, this guy's going to score a bunch of points. Like, we can either be a 1 or 2 scorer. It's different with him. It's like you're going to get an A+ defender, right? An A playmaker and a C type offensive player. Right. When he wants to be, he might move up to a B. When he doesn't want to be, he's a D-. So it's like you got to be able to stomach that and have the players in there that again can take that scoring load off him. But then I'd also look at it as like, well, wait, he was on Philly with Joel and Tobias and other guys that could score, and it was still the same problem. So it's crazy how much has flipped for him in the last couple months.
It's just the fact that he needs to get to the paint. And when you got one of the best players in the paint in the league in Joel, he can't go there. And then in the play, I'm very tempted to start talking about people in regular season and then playoff form. Like I'm going to start asking you, like, are we talking about the regular season or are we talking about the playoffs? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's how different the shit is. Like, Simmons will go somewhere in the regular season and probably do pretty well. He'll go to the rack. He'll get to the rack. He'll dish. He'll do whatever. But in the playoffs, if the shit doesn't change from what we saw this year, spooky hours.
And then for Dame, there's a lot of Warriors buzz picking up on Dame Lillard. Now, I don't know how you would facilitate. I guess Wiseman would kind of be the centerpiece of that. Wiseman, and I think they have the 7th pick this year.
Yeah.
So you could pretty much give Portland back a whole bunch of young assets. I don't know what all-star caliber player you'd get back. I don't think they're going to want Draymond. I don't think you're going to trade Clay. But, I mean, imagine if they brought in – if you had Dame and Steph Curry in the backcourt, I don't know how you would defend that.
Yeah.
I mean, it brings up some major defensive issues and some ball handling and some responsibilities or whatever, but Steve Kerr would just kind of figure it out. But that would be one of the most interesting teams we could possibly imagine. Like 2 of the greatest shooters of all time, in my opinion. Because I think Dame is at that level as far as one of the best shooters of all time. Go back and watch the playoffs this year. Go back and watch this year in general.
I don't know about that. But
one of the best shooters of all time?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What more do you need?
He didn't start going ballistic like this until the last 4 years, maybe.
But he has been consistently now for 4 years. It hasn't stopped it. He's only getting better.
One of the best shooters of all time.
Dog, I think that Dame Lillard.
He can fire.
The last 2 years, Dame Lillard has shot 40% on 10 threes per game.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not. Okay, yeah, that's probably a stretch. But
but you know what I'm saying.
Most exciting shooters, whatever it is, right? Again, you pair him with Steph Curry, that could be interesting. So that was heating up. I think that there's so much being talked about on the Dame front. I think he is going to get traded this year, which I thought was impossible. I thought he was going to just die on the Blazers train.
We talked about that. I'm like,
they might be wanting to cut their losses. So
Dame, this is all fun and good. I'm loyal. I'm this.
Right.
They gave me a shot. Yeah. I love the city. You know, Adidas headquarters gave me a shot. It's out here in Portland. I love the city. That shit is all great, my boy. If you don't want to win any rings, stay out there and do what you got to do. But if you want to win a ring, my G, you got to get out of there, and you got to get out of there sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Unless you want to be a passenger for the ring and not a leader for the ring.
And they were talking on Simmons' podcast how you would actually probably get good return for Dame because he's signed. He's signed for the next 4 years. He's 30. I don't see that Dame's going to fall off the cliff between 30 and 34.
No.
So you got him signed. It's like, this is our guy. You are getting a franchise Hall of Fame player, MVP candidate that's signed and under contract that you don't have to worry about
for the next 5 years.
For the next 4 to 5 years, easy. So it's like you better give us what we want. And we're not in a rush to trade him because he's signed. He can't. What's he gonna do? You know what I mean? It's not like he can say, hey, I'm not gonna resign with you guys or anything like that. So I think Portland has some leverage in that situation. So we'll see, man. I mean,
funny is maybe Portland should be in a little bit more of a hurry.
Why?
Because maybe you just try to go a different route. I don't think you're going to be able to attract the guys that you need to win the championship out there. Maybe you do something else. I'm never on the train of get rid of perennial all-star guys. A true perennial, by the way.
Yeah. Perennial all-NBA.
Perennial all-NBA guys.
Yeah, elite level player,
to make a move. But it's like the shit that y'all got going on out there is not working. And maybe this is the same conversation we always have, is that Portland, y'all, man, be happy that y'all are in the conference. Y'all are in the second round consistently talk now. Maybe that's a massive win.
Maybe
that's why you keep Dame and keep continuing to do what you're doing. But he's not. That's not the ceiling for him.
If you move Dame, then please completely blow it up and also move CJ. Like a CJ with no Dame leaves you in a very you got CJ going out there scoring a bunch of points and winning just enough games to take you out of the top 3 picks, but not enough to make any type of noise, and that's not where you want to be.
How brutal will it be if Simmons went out to Portland and then they just sent everybody else out? It's just him out there.
Just Portland. Been out there in Portland. It'd be like that Will Smith meme where he's looking around.
It's essentially Portland is Cleveland now. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
like
that'd be terrible.
Shit.
If you can get him out there without disrupting the CJ and Dame situation, because again, we just talked about it. If there's not a ton of fits for Simmons, it becomes a situation where you might not get as much as you think that you will. Now, you're not going to get Harden type return, which is literally, I'll never stop talking about how Houston does not have anything from the James Harden trade. And this happened 6 months ago. It's not like the first James Harden trade when Oklahoma City traded him and it took a couple years for you to realize you have nothing. It's 6 months after trading James Harden. The Houston Rockets have absolutely nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
You got like the 25th pick in the draft. It's crazy. So whoever's out there should be fired. But I don't know what you're gonna do if you can get him out there and keep that intact. I think Ben Simmons actually fixes some of your problems, your biggest problem, which is defense. And you have the scorers to kind of bring him into your roster and not worry about it. But
if they could get away with giving up one scorer, preferably Dame, and maybe moving CJ and keeping Ben Simmons, Dame, Norm, Nurkic, maybe add another defensive player. That could be.
It could be fine. Yeah, add a defensive guard. Add a 2 that can play D.
The Denver Nuggets.
Dame can score enough points for you when it matters. That's what it comes down to. In the playoffs, in close games. Yeah. He is at that level of offensive player that he's almost like a 1.5 players. You're allowed to kind of cut short other places when you have Dame Lillard on the roster.
No doubt. All right, let's move over to the show. Ohtani, Stephen A. Smith comments. I got the clip for you guys. Before we get to that, let's talk the home run derby real quick. Let's talk MLB All-Star, because I think this all ties in together to the Shohei Ohtani and Stephen A. Smith comments. The conversation came up with Ohtani and Stephen A. Smith was purely off of.
But real quick.
Yeah.
Since we are at the All-Star break, we do gotta give our credit to the first place Chicago White Sox. It's a tale of 2 teams here in the city. One team's arrow pointing up. even though the arrow on their field points down, arrow points up on the team. Got another team out north. Sean called it early. He didn't even believe the hype when they got into first place for a little bit. Sean told you what my man's is into real estate development now, not winning baseball games. Another team with the arrow pointing down. But I know we don't talk a ton of baseball here. I know people have asked us to talk baseball. Don't hold your breath. It probably won't happen a lot. And this comes from me. I watch almost every single White Sox game. I am plugged in, but I just don't feel confident enough to get up here and give you guys a whole bunch of OPS and MIS and all this other shit. There's plenty of people who can give you that. But just understand we appreciate the first place Chicago White Sox. We appreciate Eloy Jimenez coming back for the second half. And the team's going to continue to make noise.
Yeah, we're talking about
shout out the squad.
We're talking about first place in the AL. We're not talking about the division either.
The AL, the best record in the AL. For all that La Russa hate and all that, and I was on the why are we hiring TLR situation. I know there's been some weird moments. Hey, he's gotten us through these injuries. They've had big time injuries too.
Yeah.
Top of the line type players. So shout out the first place in the American League, Chicago White Sox.
Yo,
Dubs, you already know.
Yeah. Really quick. I actually got a pod set up for tomorrow with Michael Bowling and Dom, aka the director of morale for the Chicago Cubs. We're going to talk about how we got here, where it started, where it's going, and then I'm going to talk about Chris.
Is he actually the director of morale? Is that what he calls himself?
That's what he calls himself.
He must be hard right now. Huh?
So he's director of morale. That's what he calls himself. But yeah, I want to talk Ricketts, the real estate developer, because that's exactly what he is right now. I wouldn't even call him an owner. He's developing real estate.
A land mogul.
He's developing real estate funded by the Chicago Cubs.
Essentially.
That's exactly what's happening.
Hey, you guys want your ring? Got it for you.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. That's tomorrow. I'm going to release that on Thursday. I'll let you guys know some more details on that. But the Ohtani comments from Stephen A. Smith came from a perspective of MLB is just not popular. And it's not popular enough. we should be talking more about this guy and Trout and whoever else, but it's just not popular. Why not? This is why I feel like it's not as popular. And then I'm going to play the clip now, but that was kind of the lead in. They were talking about how can, baseball become more popular and what's up with baseball? How come people don't watch it? They even talked about it today on First Take. Stephen A said, we don't talk baseball because every time we talk baseball, the fucking ratings drop.
People change the channel.
People change the channel. So here's Stephen A.
And ESPN does watch it by the segment. That's why Tebow and all them boys got so much coverage, because whenever they talk Tebow, shit went up. So,
exactly.
Good point.
Exactly. So here's Stephen A. talking about Shohei Ohtani being the face of the MLB, and it was some racist shit.
When I look at Ohtani, he is big time. Babe Ruth, 33 home runs, batting .279, got a 4-1 record with a .379 ERA as a pitcher. This brother is special. Make no mistake about it. But the fact that you got a foreign player that doesn't speak English, that needs an interpreter, believe it or not, I think contributes to harming the game to some degree when that's your box office appeal. It needs to be somebody like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys. And unfortunately, at this moment in time, that's not the case. Baseball was dying in the 90s. What saved it? It was the home run competition between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Now, obviously, Sammy Sosa, we learned later during his testimony on Capitol Hill that suddenly he needed an interpreter. Baseball being very, very good to him. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't enough. He needed an interpreter to speak for him when he was on Capitol Hill. Certainly didn't need that when he was smacking those home runs. But Mark McGwire basically helped save baseball because you had a dude that you could put on Wheaties boxes, all right, that could ingratiate himself with the younger generations out there and had America transfixed on the sport of Major League Baseball. What I'm saying to you is that's not the case. That's all I mean by that. I'm not taking anything away from Ohtani. I know what he's doing on the field. I know it's nothing short of spectacular. And I understand that baseball is an international sport itself in terms of participation. But when you talk about an audience gravitating to the tube or to the ballpark to actually watch you, okay, I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what the hell he's saying.
Wait, so before we hit this, the Sammy Sosa
baseball
needing an interpreter during the congressional hearings is still one of the all-time, wow. All of a sudden, my man didn't speak English. It reminds me, I used to have math class obviously had math class in high school, and a couple of the Mexican homies were in there. And when the teacher would call, and these cats spoke perfect English.
Yeah.
When the teacher would call on them, there was this one dude every time he'd be like, no say, no say.
No say.
Oh, go shout out my mans though. Would do that shit every time. So the Sammy needed an interpreter. I forgot about that. It's absolutely hilarious. So you said before you showed the clip that it is racist. So you're on that side of it.
Yes.
I'm on the opposite side. I don't think that it was a racist. I think that he didn't articulate it as well as he could have. But what I did, because I knew that this was one of those clips that was just taken and you just put that part of it there and it was part of a larger, broader conversation.
Yeah, I'll explain go ahead.
Yeah, so I went back and rewatched First Take and I wanted to see how they kind of talked about this. And even upon because I knew he had to have this be part of a larger point, right? Yeah. And even going back listening to it, he still probably didn't say it as well as he could have. But I understand what he was trying to say, right?
Me too.
We do this podcast every single week. We don't necessarily cover baseball, but we talk about the biggest stories in sport. And I know in my lifetime, and probably the same in your lifetime, and a lot of people's lifetime, our parents' lifetime, we have never seen where you have a guy who is a above average starting pitcher, right? And one of the best hitters in baseball doing both jobs, right? Like it is an athletic feat that we haven't seen in tens of years, right? And we may never see again. And we don't spend any time talking about it. So when you look at it like that, you say, hey, is it good for baseball that your number one attraction doesn't necessarily speak English? From a business standpoint, probably not, right? Again, he didn't articulate it as well, but I know that's what he's trying to say. Because ultimately, they need to market stories, right? The NBA figured out a long time ago, don't market the product, market the story, right? NFL, you market the story, and they have a hard time marketing narratives in baseball because it's a pretty regional sport, right? Like you care about your teams, you don't really know what's going on around the league. In order to market a national story like that, you need to have a marketable guy. This is a guy, we were just talking about it before we got on. Their best player, Mike Trout, isn't even marketable, and he's an American. So when you add another layer upon that, where a guy like watching last night, the home run derby, all cameras on him. He's starting the game tomorrow. He's batting leadoff, or starting the game tonight. He's batting leadoff tonight. He went last in the home run derby. Everybody's got their phones out, but you can't even shoot over to him to an interview, which is not his fault, right? And it's nothing against him. It's nothing against him being Japanese. But when you're trying to market this and sell it to your fans during your biggest week ever, which is the All-Star game, and you can't do it, it doesn't necessarily bode well for baseball. So it's not problematic in the sense that, like, you can't have an Asian player. And then I took it to, imagine if someone had said this, like, hey, you can't really have a black player be the face of it because of this. Yes, I would probably be upset about it. So when I look at it from that lens, when I look at it from that lens and I replace Japanese with black, I get it 100%. But I fully understand what he was saying, where he was coming from. Like, I heard Keith Olbermann say, hey, it's stuff like this that contributes to the anti-Asian hate that's going on in this country. That is too far. That is too far. We are just simply talking about, can you have the face of the league, the biggest story in the league, be a guy who you can't interview? And I think the answer to that question is probably not. It's not. It's very difficult to do.
Does it hinder if would it be better off if he could speak English?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Right. I think where he fucked up and it came off racist was when he essentially said, this Japanese guy that doesn't speak English can't be the face of baseball and have baseball be successful. We need white boys like Trout and Harper to do it. It's like the bare bones of what is like a big part of what he said. I think that came off racist and was worthy of an apology. And he did apologize, and we are where we are right now. I do understand what he was trying to say. He's like, hey, you guys aren't the NBA. You guys aren't the NFL. The problem with that is you guys do a terrible job of marketing your players. And then on top of all of it, the biggest showman in your sport, the guy is pitching and hitting 33 home runs in the first half of the season.
It's the long ball.
He's literally pitching and batting leadoff in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Can't kind of create that buzz and talk to the media and,
can't sell the game for you.
Can't sell the game for you. That's what he was trying to say. He butchered how to say it or how he was going to go about it. It's a tough conversation to have on national TV where millions of people are going to be watching and not kind of come off as, I guess, derogatory. And he's essentially saying, like, yo, you're not from here. You shouldn't be the face. It's kind of how a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's how people saw it. But I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was saying you're not from here, therefore it's an uphill battle to try to sell you here.
Right.
Right? Like, yeah. I just think, and again, like, listening to the whole thing, I don't think he did a great job of saying what he meant. And the words and the way that he came off was almost insensitive, right?
Yo, Nick, and how about this? I think there's a difference of a dude I don't believe is racist saying something that may have like a racial tone to it and be like, oh, fuck, he fucked up, apologizing. And there's also guys where it's like, man, that was some super racist shit. And I'm worried about what this guy talks about when the cameras aren't on and the door is closed.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the feeling I got from Stephen A. And another thing. Yeah, sure, Mike Trout is boring. He doesn't feel like being on social media and being out in front of the camera or whatever. But how the fuck does the NBA figure out a way to promote Kawhi Leonard? He's the dullest motherfucker on planet Earth. And he's a marketing superstar.
They almost market his goal. They market him being Kawhi. So I think the issue also with Trout is Trout doesn't win.
Yeah,
the Angels just aren't a good team, right? Yeah. So like throughout all of his MVPs and all that, maybe if he was winning, maybe it would cause him to loosen up a bit. But I get it. Maybe he's just like, look, dude, it's hard for me to get up and do all this, and we're sitting over here in 3rd and 4th place, and I'm winning all these MVPs
every single year.
But even with Ohtani, I mean, like, and I get the Angels aren't necessarily in LA. So, like, when I say they play in a large market, it's not the Dodgers. It's not like he's on the Dodgers or something like that. But he's still playing in a big enough market to where you could figure out a way to get out there. So yeah, I think it is a baseball problem. I said a long time ago, if I'm baseball, why are you not marketing guys like Tim Anderson, right? Like a young black American player, like guys like that. Why aren't you marketing? I can't even name, like whoever this guy was that had all these home runs last night, this Alonso character. He seems like he had a bunch of personality.
Yeah,
and he plays in the fucking Mets.
Yeah.
He plays in New York. So it's like, why are these guys not front and center? Why is the presentation of the home run derby last night so boring? To me, it's not exciting, right? Like, I feel like you could do a lot more with that. They just seem to be.
I think part of it's the game itself. It's just kind of a
baseball
boring game.
It's a boring game. It is.
Game. Yeah. So it's not
Bryce
like
Harper's
basketball.
an exciting guy. I get it. Like they market Harper. Harper does his shit, and that's a clown question and all that. But
it's not. It's not basketball. It's not football. Yeah, it's tough.
It's regional. Baseball is a regional sport. Let's keep it honest. Like you like your team. I know about the Chicago White Sox. I can't tell you about the Detroit Tigers. I can't even tell you about the Cubs, and they're across the street. Right, you focus on who you focus on, whereas the NFL and the NBA, I can tell you about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
It's a league issue, though.
Yeah,
the fact that you can talk about the Timberwolves and not the Pittsburgh Pirates is because you don't care. You don't give a fuck about the league. We care about the NFL. We care about the NBA. So it's easy to tap in with those squads. It's an interesting thing, man, because it's not getting better. The baseball super lovers are getting older and older, and the younger motherfuckers
aren't watching it. Yeah.
And golf is heating up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the other sports in UFC, soccer. I really think that soccer, if you talk about the sport hierarchy in the United States of America, it is football, right? Then basketball, and then it used to be baseball, right? Baseball used to be number one. I think the new generation is way more into soccer. The younger people, even people our age, are way more into soccer than they are baseball. Like, I know you're a big soccer fan, so it goes without saying, like, you'd obviously much rather probably watch a soccer match than a baseball game, right? And you grew up playing baseball. Yeah. So I think that's their real issue. It's like, hey, it used to be, man, it sucks that we're in third. It's like, no, y'all are struggling to hang on to third because the more soccer leagues that get deals in the United States as far as showing their games, like this Premier League on ESPN. I mean, what has that done for the game in the United States? It's blown it up. I'm asking you the other day, hey, when does this shit start? I'm going to try to get into it. Right. And I'm not like that on baseball. Like Ohtani could be on TV the next 10 days. I probably won't watch.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and watch 9 innings of Angels baseball to watch a guy go up there 3 times.
I'm going to tell you this. I ain't seen Ohtani throw a pitch all year.
Neither have I.
So, like, I mean, that's just keeping it 100. They better call up Netflix and the F1 producer and have a documentary on each division or something.
You can't, but see, to the point, you couldn't do that with him because he doesn't speak English.
No, you could do that. You could do something like that.
But
that would be the league have to open up and allow people to do that. Like, how dope would it be to have an AL Central documentary throughout the whole year? Like,
but it has to be through the net. It can't be like on MLB Network where it's edited and heavily redacted.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
You need the hard knocks, like this is the footage,
right?
We control the footage.
Facts.
And because I think they have that. They have what's that show they ESPN does it where they follow people around. They did it in the hockey league a couple years ago. You told me to watch the Pac-10 they did with Herm Edwards.
Oh, that shit was really good.
Yeah, it was really Herm Edwards is great.
Shout out Herm. That was on HBO. Was it on HBO or Showtime?
I think it is. It's HBO Showtime. But like I think they've done that for baseball. But yeah, you need a game outside of the game for baseball, and you don't have that.
You don't have that.
It's still now spectator wise, it's still arguably my favorite sport to go watch because just kicking back at a baseball game is fucking lovely, right? Like. Yeah. It's lovely. You gave me baseball tickets tomorrow. I will inconvenience myself to go to a baseball game because I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I've been
to like a dozen games for the Cubs already. Yeah.
But I'm 34, and this is the most baseball I've ever watched on TV in my life, and it's only because I'm very intrigued on my team. You know what I mean? Like, but normally it's like, I don't. Maybe you'll get out 10 to 15 games a year I'll watch, but So I don't know, man. They can't recreate their on-field experience at home, but they need to do something. And to Stephen A's point, it's hard when your best player, your most marketable player, your once in a lifetime generation century story it's hard for you to promote. Like watching it yesterday at the home run derby, it's difficult.
See, but I think that sounds bad. Hard to promote. Fucking figure out a way to promote him. It's how about this? It may be difficult to communicate with him and his team. Something like that. I think the promote thing is where like figure that shit out. Hire whoever you gotta do, whatever you gotta do, bro. Because because you're not promoting the motherfuckers that speak English. You're not promoting the motherfuckers that speak Japanese.
Yeah, right.
You're not promoting nobody.
You're not promoting any of these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
like Mike Trout. Like honestly, I know what he looks like, but if he was at a restaurant with me, I'd probably do a double take before it wouldn't be like, oh, that's Mike Trout.
Right.
Like I'm like that's Mike Trout. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. So it's like, and that's your biggest star in the league. So. For sure.
That's the thing. It's like, yo, so you're telling me that if this dude spoke English, that he'd be everywhere?
So you think that's cap?
Tim Anderson speaks English. Mike Trout has spoke English his whole life.
His whole life.
He got in the league. No, they're talking about Mike Trout, one of the best baseball players ever.
Ever.
And come on, man. So like, that's where it gets a little shaky. Like y'all not promoting anybody, and then Stephen A. comes out and says, "Yeah, this dude, we can't promote this guy." I'm like, yo, y'all not promoting anybody.
That's true. I see. When you look at it from that way, it's like, yeah, they're not. It's not like Shohei Ohtani could speak perfect English. He could have gone to fucking Harvard,
right?
And they wouldn't.
And it would still be an issue of like, why don't we know more about this guy? Why isn't he on the fucking Wheaties box?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll leave it there. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Make sure you subscribe, man. Tell the friends to tell a friend to tell a friend. Rate, review, leave the 5 stars. We appreciate it. It helps us out on the iTunes and the Spotify list. So make sure you do that. That's it, man. Be on the lookout for the Cubs. Cubs, the state of the Chicago Cubs pod. That's what we're gonna call it. I'm getting a couple of big time Chicago dudes together. Michael Bowling's huge on the Cubs, big on Twitter on them, and Dom Frederick, aka Director of Morale, he's got like 30,000 followers. They're all super Cubs lovers. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna record that tomorrow, drop it Thursday.
That reminds me, real quick. I saw the worst bumper sticker I've ever seen in my life today.
Yeah.
This dude at bumper sticker said, "I was a Cubs fan before it was cool," and I was like.
Yeah, he must have printed that himself.
Yeah, like at never point was it like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hop on the Cubs bandwagon. Like their fans have been there forever, so I just thought that was kind of silly to like claim I'm an original Cubs fan. It's like maybe the Blackhawks, maybe the White Sox, not the Cubs. Their fans have been in abundance for years. So
facts. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. You know how we're rocking. We'll have some more no catch up fast food coming this week as well. Me and Nick are gonna try to continue to come out with a bunch of stuff for you guys to rock with. No catch up.
Are you watching the All-Star game tonight?
Maybe. I got a couple things I got to do, but yeah, it'll be on in the background. That's that shit. Yo, it'll be on in the background. I
might glance.
I have it on in the background. Don't worry about it. For Big Nick the Quick, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. No catch up. Sports Talk via Chicago. We're out of here.